Hi there, my name is Jitbitan Baroi and I'm a first year undergrad student in the Department of Electrical Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. Today, I'm going to disassemble a commonly used CD or DVD writer for my DIY assignment 3. In order to disassemble, let's first take off the steel encasement. So these are the internals. We are seeing 3 FFC connectors here, running from the primary driver circuit to different components. I am going to disconnect these to dig further without causing any harm to these delicate cables. Let's discuss the components one by one. Starting off with the simplest one, this brushless DC motor driver circuit. When the eject button is pressed, this circuit channelizes current drawn from the main driver circuit into the motor, which turns the gears, firstly to lift this whole array and secondly to eject the disc bed. Pressing the button once more does the exact same thing in reverse. Before getting further into the disassembly, let's have a glimpse of how data is actually stored on a disk. The surface of a disk is made up of a polycarbonate layer with molded spiral tracks on the top. Data are stored as a series of minute grooves which are known as pits. The flat areas between pits are lands. While reading the track, any change from pit to land or land to pit is interpreted as 0 and no change is read as 1. Data can be etched by creating a definite pattern of these pits and lands on the surface. Digging in further, we can find another motor. This motor turns the disk at a high speed of about 500 RPM as the data is read or etched by a miniature laser beam driven by this circuit, which we'll get into soon. The motor is regulated by this main driver circuit. Since the read or write speed is constant, the motor needs to be slowed down progressively as the laser traverses and is controlled by this motor. This turns the spirally carved rod that displaces this structure along this constrained direction, and in turn the whole circuit is moved radially outwards of the disk. Now let's have a look at the read or write circuit. So here it is. When instructed, the semiconductor diode laser turns on and scans along a track by firing a light of wavelength 780 nanometers, which reflects on the pits and lands and is read by a photoelectric cell. The change in the nature of the reflected light is decoded accordingly and is fed into the main driver circuit via this cable. Well, the thickness is indicative of the high bandwidth that it needs to handle a high volume of data from and for the laser head. This data is relayed to the motherboard by a high-speed SATA connection. When it comes to burning data into the disk, data is fed into the driver circuit, which regulates the laser for etching the data into the polycarbonate surface by altering the pit and land pattern. Now let's reassemble this whole thing. So this was the disassembly of a commonly used CD or DVD writer and a basic explanation of how it works. I hope you liked it. Thank you.